Welcome back to the Not Carrie Bradshaw YouTube channel. In this video, I'm recapping season 2 of Bigger on BET. I promise I tried really hard to do this episode by episode, but once I started watching, I ended up binging it, and I was like, you know what? Let me just talk about my highlights, my favorite moments and things and ideas and themes that were explored this season because I could not help myself. Sorry, y'all. Discipline, self-control, things I'm working on. I overall really enjoyed this season, so let's just jump right into it and talk about it, how we do. So, y'all know, if you're new here, I always have my notebook. I have a lot of thoughts that I need to keep up with. I don't want to miss a thing. That's a song. It's gonna bother me that I can't. I think it's a soft rock song. Anywho, I digress. So season 2 really explored definitions of success. What does bigger really mean for you? Is bigger always better? When you get the bigger, is it going to be all you hoped it would be? Sometimes our bigger isn't actually big enough, and our talent is bigger than what our immediate dreams are, and they end up evolving. There's also the notion of whose definition of success are you living up to? Do you want the things that you want out of life because it's the things that you want, or is this someone else's projection of what they want your life to be onto you? All of these things were explored really, really well this season. Character development was really good. The soundtrack this season was really good. Honestly, the soundtrack last season probably was really good as well. Just paying attention here, highlighting. So let's get into some of the nitty-gritty of some of my favorite things about this season. I really like the diversity of careers. Everyone is kind of an entrepreneur in one way or another. Now, while I don't believe that entrepreneurship is for everybody, I do think they did a great job of showing the ebbs and flows and some of the negatives of being your own boss, and that sometimes that really is just in people, that sometimes that is just someone's actual desire, and they won't really be happy working for someone else until they actually can just work for themselves, and that's okay too. But the diversity of those career choices and just exploring those paths in very real ways, the way they illustrated Lane's anxiety surrounding things really taking off for her. Sometimes we get the things that we want, we, hit these goals, and we kind of aren't prepared to manage them in a way that's healthy and productive. And that's a whole process in and of itself. And I really like the way that they explored that with Lane. I also really like the way that they literally illustrated the anxiety with the heartbeat sound and the cartoon around it. I thought that that was a really friendly and approachable way to explain what anxiety feels like. I think when we're so used to these days, when people are talking more about mental health, depression and anxiety seem to be these kind of buzzwords that I don't know if they're starting to kind of lose their meaning or what, but everyone on occasion feels anxious. It's a different state of being to have anxiety. And I thought they did a really good job of showing that even though her store is doing really good, even in a pandemic. The article did really well for her. She has the opportunity to work with stylists. Her store is growing faster than her staff. She has these personal issues going on with her friends and with Dion and, with her mom. And that relationship we'll get to a little bit later. But I was just really happy that they showed kind of not the downside, but the reality of being a business owner, of being a boss. We also got to see what her life was like working in corporate and what led her to this place. So just seeing the whole story of what it means to be a business owner, I think is really important for LLC Twitter to see, and for all of us to see, that being your own boss does not automatically mean more freedom. Being responsible for other people's well-being is a huge task in and of itself. So again, one thing I loved, the cameos. I was not expecting to see Tori Spelling in that capacity. I saw the cast talking about the cameos, and I saw Tori Spelling was going to be, a guest star this season. And I was just like, oh, I wonder what that's going to be. I could not have predicted that. And I thought that she was a fun character, a fun addition to the show. Jasmine Guy, legend. Debbie Morgan, legend. Like, and still just so gorgeous. Gee whiz. Was not expecting to see Carly Red. I did not know Carly Red was in the realm of acting, even though, sure, she played a role pretty similar to her real life self. I was still like, oh, okay, this is a face that I recognize. I wonder if she's gonna do more, you know, acting in the future. But it was just kind of a play. It was like a, oh, hey girl, kind of thing. Christopher Martin. Now I want to go watch House Party. It was just, I'm always really happy to see people who we consider to be legends and who we grew up with, to see them come back and, you know, get consistent work, or to see them get work at all just always makes me really happy. And I hope that that's an enduring trend that we see with Black shows, where they bring back and highlight our Black legends. That makes me really happy. So let's get into some of the style this season. Y'all know I'm a fashion whore. Of course, I love Lane's wardrobe. I'm always like, now where'd she get that piece from? I cannot get any information on that costume designer, but it's some pieces that Lane has that I would really like to own. I loved Dion's suiting this season. One of my favorite things in the world is a double-breasted suit. And when somebody can pull off a double-breasted suit, it sometimes floors me, because everybody can't do it well. And when it's just well done and well tailored, swoon. I really enjoyed a lot of Vince's throwback pieces, how they kind of elevated his style to reflect his newfound wealth, status, the things. You know, he gave us a little Cara Kanai. I want to say he gave us some iceberg. I was just like, okay, vintage, I guess, you know, come through with it. I really loved Liberty. Okay, I love Liberty as a character, period. I really enjoyed a lot of her beauty moments this season. She definitely has that little 5 points eclectic kind of style. And I was happy we got to see a little bit more of her this season. I was thrilled that Lane didn't overlook her contributions to the growth of the business, and that she ended up promoting her, because my fear was that Lane was going to be so wrapped up in her own stuff that she would overlook everything that Liberty was doing. So I was very pleased with that. Again, growth, development, all the things. Veronica, I understand why you weren't happy with the dress, because you were compromising these parts of yourself. But let me just say, Alex Perry is one of my favorite designers. Anyone is welcome to give me an Alex Perry dress any day. And day, you can give me an Alex Perry piece. So one of the things that I was very happy came full circle was Tracy's views on relationships. I was so annoyed with the way she was talking to Veronica at Veronica's big night, you know, being recognized as one of the most powerful women in Atlanta. And, you know, Veronica just was not feeling very sure about her relationship, which I think was fair. This guy, you know, she's the one who got away. He has this idea, and to me, he has like that power couple desire, like that very performative, I want someone who we're going to be like a king and a queen kind of thing. And that's fine for some people. It's not really my vibe. And I understand Veronica not wanting that. Veronica does not give me that she's a performative relationship kind of person, and that he showed up at, you know, the pre-party and brought her this dress and in front of everybody. Like, everyone doesn't enjoy being made a spectacle like that. And that right there, I was like, I don't know about him. So I was very frustrated with Tracy, kind of making it seem like you should settle. Just take what you can get because you don't want to die alone. I really have a problem with people who do that. I get a lot of that sometimes, of like, you're not dating nobody? Oh, well, what are you? And it's just like, I'm good though, you know? So I'm glad that Tracy actually came around to seeing the extent to which she gets lost in other people's desires for her. professionally and romantically, the way she got swept up into, her ex coming back around and whether or not he was a changed man. And I really do think the conversation surrounding how real reality TV shows are is an important one, breaking down the fourth wall in that regard through her storyline. It was a contribution. And even as a person who, does commentary from time to time on reality TV, I try to be cognizant of the fact that this is still a show. I have friends who are producers who I know that sometimes they just stir the pot, and maybe these people aren't the horrible people that the show is making them out to be. But sometimes it's just like, you just seem like you might be a hateful bitch. But anyway, I was disappointed that Tracy couldn't follow through with her cooking YouTube and the things like that. And she got sucked back into this world and this fictionalized drama. It all worked out in the end, but the real triumph for me was her saying, to her ex, I really lose myself in this. I change my plans. I end up not really knowing who I am, and I really need to take time to figure myself out and figure out what it is specifically that I want out of life. And that's a really empowering thing for any person to do, but I think especially for women and especially for Black women, because we're socialized to prioritize the lives of Black men. And we put ourselves on the back burner so much faster than we even realize, where if you don't have a strong, sturdy idea, definition, mindset of who it is that you are and what it is that you want out of life, you can find yourself kind of orienting your life around that person and their desires for you and their idea of you. And I was so happy when Veronica said, I think that he wanted an idea of a person, because I think we can all, a lot of us can relate to not feeling actually seen in a relationship of this person just doing what they think that they want us to do. At no point should he have thought that Veronica wanted him to step in and tell her how to design her house. Even if it was going to be a we kind of thing and like, I'm so serious about you. It's like, yeah, but this is kind of like my project and you can have some input, but like, that's not where we are right now. And, he was very ready to move forward, but he was very ready to move forward with an idea. And that can be really dehumanizing, that you have kind of shut off seeing me as the person that I am, and you're projecting onto me the person you want me to be, which is why he brought that dress and, kind of embarrassed her. So I was glad that Tracy ended up, not leaning into settling just to say you have a man. That a happy life does not make, and I wish more people knew that. Veronica's speech at that event was so poignant. That's kind of where I am a little bit with myself right now in assessing why I shrink myself to make other people comfortable. And you can never make an insecure person comfortable enough with your presence if something about you makes them feel insecure. So I found that speech actually really inspiring. And I was like, I too. So go Veronica. I also really was happy that she wasn't a terrible landlord during a pandemic, that she gave this like working Black mom a break. And I was also really happy that the working Black mom was not actually, struggling. She was like, no, I got receipts. I paid. I don't write bad checks. Loved it. Lane's relationship with her mom. I am really grateful that I don't have that kind of mother. I know people who do. I know people who have a really hard time asserting themselves with their parents. And I think it really helped Lane to blossom and to kind of release some more of her creative energy and more of her ideas by having some freedom or some autonomy from her mom's expectations. And her mom apologizing to her, I think a lot of people would kill to have an apology from their parents for the ways in which they've belittled them or made them feel that their dreams aren't legitimate. So that was a really good bit of character development right there. And honestly, again, any excuse to look at Debbie Morgan. I love her. Vince being a kept man. So let's talk about it. It's one thing to be a kept man, but then you're kept by this older white woman, which has its own implications, and you end up looking like you're driving Miss Daisy, and she keeps calling you boy, and literally gave you a shackle where she has the key to it. And it's like, we got to talk about some boundaries here. I want to say that the Shiva episode, Tristan J. Winger acted his ass off there. I was really pleased with, he has impeccable comedic timing. And that he got to have an episode of his own where, with a diverse cast, I think too, I hope that that gives him even more opportunities to really flex his comedic performance muscles. That episode was so good. I want to say that it was episode 8. Very well done. I really enjoyed that. And then, of course, also any opportunity to learn about other cultures. I know like what Shiva is, and I knew that it's like a days long process. I was like, "Shit, how long are they gonna do?" You know, I really loved it, and also made me very hungry. Very hungry. What a spread! But then when they had the soul food, I was like, they did that just for him. There are racial undertones. Interracial relationships fascinate me. I don't know nothing about it. I'm not saying that I'm opposed to it or that I'm open to it. I don't know. I'm very neutral about it, but those kinds of implications are very present. Dion's mom's growth really blessed my heart because y'all know I said I cannot stand the notion of parents who make their kids responsible for them. And I think it's important to see older Black women get the love that they deserve. Not that she's older. And with this man who genuinely loves her and, the relationship that he wanted to have with Dion. Now, them twins, they could have kept them twins. I don't know. The twins was weird. Twins were weird. However, I'm happy that his mom has found love and someone else to take care of her. Okay? Willie and Yoga Bitch. It looks like Willie has gotten the help that he's needed with his mental health. It looks like she has learned some things about what it means to actually be a good neighbor to all of the people in an area, especially when you've gentrified that area. I want to say this. In this, I don't want to say era or time or current climate because it's something that's been happening forever, but I will say what I want to believe is that there are non-Black people who are capable of learning and doing better. And I do want us to hold space or at least hold hope for the possibility of a person learning from their mistakes and being better and doing better moving forward. And that was a good example, of them making peace and moving forward and helping each other out. There was something just so sweet about the way that relationship progressed. It just really did bless my spirit. I was really happy to see that and to see that Willie's doing well. I was devastated, honestly, at the beginning of seeing Lane and Dion's friendship, relationship really crash and burn. Not to get too personal here, but I've had my share of experiences of trying to date friends because it seems easy and it's like this person really loves me and it seems like a safe space, and it's like you like a person as a friend. It's very different when there are romantic implications, and I was just like, God, I genuinely hope that they work this out. So I think a theme as well was like people's capacity to change. Can people evolve? And, with Tracy's ex, he did change. And with Veronica's ex, he did change. And with Dion, he did change. Sometimes the change isn't enough because while that person is changing, you're changing too. So maybe after they make those, experience that growth and that development, they still just may not be the right person for you. So I am happy that all three of the relationships didn't work out like that. But when Lane and Dion got into a groove of living together, I was like, oh, yes, please work. Please make this work. Those two kids. So cute. Just so cute. I'm getting ahead of myself. I don't know what it is about television right now that we're seeing a lot of Black women therapists. I've talked about this on a previous video. What was the first place that I really noticed this? Maybe it was May I Destroy You? I know I saw it on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, First Wives Club, Broad City. There's a recurring theme of people's mental health professionals being Black women. Now, I was talking with Ryan Ken, really funny, follow on Twitter, about, he made the point that he wishes that were a more accessible demographic in terms of people seeking therapy. Like, it seems so readily available in the TV world, but it's actually quite difficult to find in real life. Like, my therapist is not a Black woman. I just was once I started therapy about 3 or 4 years ago, I was not in a stable enough place to wait to find that demographic. I just needed help then. And that's how I came, to have the therapist that I have. She was, however, a referral from a woman of color who I know and trust. But I do find it interesting how prevalent that role is for Black women on these shows and on these movies. And we don't really see that in real life. And it kind of plays up the mammy trope or the magical Negro trope. Like, it kind of gives Touched by an Angel. Like, why is it this belief that Black women are inherently very wise and have this very sage wisdom? It's not that it's a bad stereotype per se, but it is something to note. I think that it's I don't know if it's progressive, because I feel like it has its roots in Black women being of emotional service to people. But you do have to, have a degree and have to, you do have to work to get those credentials. It is a different level of support than just going to your grandma, like, girl, I'm having a hard time, or your auntie. But there is something there. But hell, it was Jasmine Guy, so I was happy. I'm never not happy to see it, but it's just something that I keep noticing and I want to explore more. Lane has finally gotten in therapy. That's what I was hoping was going to happen the entire season, is that, okay, Lane really needs help. She's struggling with anxiety. And like I said, the way that they illustrated her anxiety of, having the audible heartbeats and the cartoon feeling of that pounding, I think was a really great way to illustrate what anxiety feels like. We all from time to time feel anxious, but to actually be having a moment of anxiety where you're having it's manifesting itself physically, it's very scary. And again, that is a part of the non-glitzy glam part of being a business owner or a boss that people, boss chick culture, that's the part that people don't really talk about. You really still have to take care of yourself in addition to taking care of all these other people who may, work under you. And so I was thrilled that she got into therapy. I did not see that ending coming. So the season wraps up with Lane and Dion. This is the kind of partnership that I like to see. I really think that the idea of let's start businesses together, that's the kind of marriage I'm trying to have. Why do you want to work with your partner? That seems exhausting. That seems like, again, an ideal. Is that something that you really want, or does it just look cute on social media? Another conversation for another day, another video. But the fact that he encouraged her to go back and is the store enough? Because it seems like you actually really had the desire to be a fashion designer. And is that something that you want to do? And motivating her to give that a try, and then supporting her, not only, you know, with the affirmation, but with the action. This is my skill set as a financial planner. I can actually help you figure out this budget. You can do this, and you have me. God, I loved that. And then even her encouraging him to step out on his own, you know, at this company where, yes, you took a pay cut to go to a smaller company so that you actually would have more chances for advancement and to actually impact change. But what Dion ultimately realizes, he's never going to be happy working for someone else. Some people genuinely just need to be a business owner. He's one of those people, and that they really partnered together to facilitate that dream or that goal or those ambitions for each other. I absolutely love that. And it seemed organic. I love to see an ecosystem just work. So that was beautiful, well done, and not too cheesy, not too LLC Twitter. What I also, I'm looking forward to season 3 because I need to know what the big deal was about revealing their relationship. And when they started the couples counseling, I was like, oh, maybe more people should go to couples counseling like before they, you know, actually get married, because Dion did propose to her. Even though it was without a ring, that's okay. They were in the moment. You know, he's like, I don't just want to shack up. Like, I want to be with you. Like, let's do this for real. And I was like, yes, don't drag your feet. Come for her, you know. When did they get married? Why did they get married in secret? And even when Dion's mom was saying, like, your family now, I'm like, oh, she done welcomed her into the family already. Like, there were clues there. But girl, what? I have questions. I need to know. Thank you for giving me something additionally to look forward to in the coming months. I also want to say I think they did a really good job of showing that this is life during a pandemic, because shows that are going to be reflective of the year of 2020, they can't avoid, you know, these things are like a time capsule, right? So like if you look at Good Times, you know, and you're aware of what was happening politically during that time, it informs so much of the story, and it's a snapshot. It's like a time capsule. So I think that they did a good job of showing that, yes, this was taking place during a pandemic, and yeah, it was scary, but I'm glad that they didn't give us too much of the scary parts, because I think that we're all a bit overwhelmed because we're currently living it. But as far as having the masks and the social distancing and the fact that some people aren't social distancing, and even the way that your desire to party elevates, just as an aside before I sign off, once you get to a certain age, you're really not trying to be, you party differently as you get older. But I did like the fact that they show Atlanta ain't been in a pandemic. You know, but they did, you know, show the masks and the social distancing, and that some people take more seriously than others. And the season, I think, did a lot, and I think they did a lot well. I'm very much looking forward to season 3, because I need to know what the hell happened with Lane and Dion and why they don't want to tell anybody, like, at this point. Like, I get it, but also what? So overall, loved this season. Cannot wait to see more, not only from this show, but from these actors. I really hope that other producers and directors and writers are taking, and casting directors are taking note of the skill set of the people on this show. I think that they should get more opportunities, and I hope that they do. Yeah, so that's Bigger season 2. Looking forward to season 3, and make sure that you guys like this video, subscribe to my channel, watch my other recaps and content on here. Drop down in the comments, let me know what you thought of season 2, and I'll be back. Bye.